All right. We are recording. Good afternoon, everyone who is watching this, and welcome. And thank you all for joining us today for our UVA Pipelines and Pathways Building 101, Career Building 101 workshop series. My name is Elijah Harrison. I'm an opportunity navigator with UVA Pipelines and Pathways, and I'll be your host for today's session. And today's workshop is Transferable Skills, effectively communicating your skills in written and verbal form. So this session is about, helping you clearly communicate the skills that you already have, whether it's on your resume or, in interviews. So we are very excited to have Jasmine Porter with us today. Jasmine is a senior career development consultant with UVA Career Navigation, and she brings a lot of experience helping individuals identify and confidently present their strengths. So yeah, with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jasmine to get us started. So Jasmine, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And hello to everyone that's in the room right now and to those that are watching it at a later date. Thank you for taking some time to join this session on transferable skills. Again, my name is Jasmine Porter, and I serve on the career navigation team, as Elijah has already referenced. And on behalf of career navigation, I just want to thank Pipelines and Pathways for allowing us to be a part of this platform and speak to your population and your clientele. So today we're going to talk about something that many individuals overlook, the skills they already possess that can transfer across roles and opportunities. Whether you are exploring a career pivot, growing in your current field, or simply trying to better articulate your value, today's session will give you practical tools to do so. So here is what we're going to cover in a quick snapshot. First, we will talk about what transferable skills actually are and why they matter in today's evolving market. And then we will explore how to identify your transferable skills, many of which you may already be using every day. And next, we'll look at how to translate those skills into strong resume language. That's going to be crucial. We will practice how to confidently communicate your value in career conversations. And of course, we'll close out with some useful resources at UVA to assist you in developing those transferable skills. Throughout this session, I will invite you to participate in some reflective activities. When we get to those activities, it may seem like we're breezing through them, and that is more so for those that are watching this recording at a different time so that they can participate in their own time. So feel free to pause this recording when you get to those activities and participate at your own convenience. So, why are your transferable skills the key to career growth? What is the magic or the power behind knowing and communicating your transferable skills? Um, we will really need to dig into what a transferable skill actually is to be able to apply it in the right way. So, let's start by doing that. Transferable skills are abilities you develop in one role or an environment, an experience that can be applied across many different careers. So, in other words, these are the skills that follow you from job to job, ones you likely use every day without even thinking about it. And they are often referred to as soft skills as opposed to technical skills, which a lot of people might say, oh, those are hard skills, but really they're technical skills. And you'll see on the screen there is two text boxes that differentiate what transferable skills are and what technical skills are, and there's some examples in there. The key difference is this. Technical competencies or technical skills are skills you are specifically trained to perform, while transferable skills are developed over time through experience. So, for example, someone can train you in web development, but skills like creativity, communication, problem solving, are built gradually and can be applied in virtually any role that you have. A technical skill like web development may not be relevant in every job you have or every responsibility that you have, but transferable skills are. Transferable skills are built again over time throughout a variety of experiences. So you may develop transferable skills in your professional role. Maybe it's some volunteer work that you're doing, some leadership opportunities or community involvement. You can pick up transferable skills just about in every area of your life that can be beneficial. Let's talk about how to recognize and capitalize on your transferable skills. And we'll start by looking at some examples of transferable skills. Transferable skills often fall into several key categories. So I'll give you a few examples, but feel free to just kind of jot down what you see on the screen that relates to you. So, communication skills that can include presenting information, facilitating discussions, engaging effectively with others. Leadership skills that may involve coaching, guiding projects, supporting team success. Analytical skills that may be critical thinking, problem solving, decision making. And lastly, organizational skills. So these can focus on managing projects, time, competing priorities. So as we move into this next activity, you'll start to recognize just how many of these skills you already use every day. Even on the screen, you might see some terms and you're like, I do that. There are many more transferable skills than the ones listed here, but these examples can give you a starting point. If you think about your daily task at work, you can likely connect them much of what you see on the screen to your own experiences. So I'll just give you an example in this moment. So when you respond effectively to a difficult customer or a client or a team member, you're probably not thinking, I'm using my communication skills. You're probably not thinking I'm using conflict management, but you actually are in that moment. Some skills are easier to identify, like presenting or public speaking, right? If someone was to ask me, what's a skill of yours? I would clearly say that a transferable skill of mine is public speaking because I regularly lead meetings or lead presentations. But there are others where it may less be obvious. So they're still there, right? Transferable skills are still present, even if they're not obvious to you. You are using transferable skills constantly, even in the more routine or behind the scenes parts of your work. So here's a helpful tip before we move forward into the next slide, which is if you are struggling to identify your own skills, maybe you're looking at this screen and you're like, I absolutely have no idea what my skills are. That's okay. I encourage you to look at some job postings. I'm not encouraging you to find a new job, but I am encouraging you to look at some job postings, pull up any of them on Workday. And it doesn't even have to be relevant to your current role. And challenge yourself to identify how you demonstrate the skills that may be listed in that job description. You may not be able to relate to all of them, but I'm sure there's at least one transferable skill on that job description that you can relate to. So I'll give you an example. You might see leadership skills on that job description and think, I'm not a manager, so that doesn't apply to me. But if you look closer, you might realize you mentor new team members, you help onboard colleagues, you take initiative on projects. That is all leadership. So this exercise helps you to think more creatively about your experiences and take ownership of the skills that you already have. So let's take data entry, for example. Follow me. Well, you can't follow me if it's going back. I don't know what's going on. All right, here we go. So at first glance, entering data into a spreadsheet may seem straightforward, but to do it well, you're actually using a range of transferable skills. So one, you're using attention to detail to ensure accuracy. You're using time management, prioritization. If it's one of many tasks on your plate, you're probably going to be using prioritization to figure out which one is going to be needed to do first. Computer literacy to navigate systems and tools. Organization skills. This is to keep information structured and accessible. Problem solving when identifying and resolving discrepancies that may come about. Critical thinking and analytical skills. This is to assess and not interrupt, but interpret the data. So as you can see, there's a lot of transferable skills that came out of this one skill of data entry. So from just one task, we can identify multiple transferable skills. This is something you can do with any part of your workday. So when you take a closer look, even the most routine tasks are rich with skills that are valuable across roles and industries. And so I just want to insert here that if this concept seems overwhelming to you, you are always welcome to come chat with Career Navigation Coach, and we can kind of work through with you what skills do you have, and then what transferable skills come out of that main skill. Career paths today rarely follow a straight line. And you'll hear like career navigation say, career is not linear, meaning you might think you're going in one direction because you have this one credential. But in hindsight, or in 5 or 10 years, you're like, wait a minute, I wasn't expected to land here in my career. And that's absolutely normal. Many professionals change roles or industries, even responsibilities throughout their career. A component that allows people to make these transitions successfully are transferable skills. Now, don't get me wrong, you definitely need to have experience and credentials that align to the job description, but transferable skills are a key component to finding your next best fit. Your job title may change, but your core abilities will always travel with you. So that's why it's so important to be mindful of what your transferable skills are. Employers are not just hiring past job titles. They are hiring the skills and capabilities you bring to that role. Transferable skills allow you to adapt and grow. They help employers understand how your experience translates to their need. So when you're looking at a job description or when you're interviewing for an opportunity, it's not just about what they can do for you, but it's also about what you can do for them as an employee. So key note is that your experience may change, but your skills move with you. Now, identifying your skills. To identify your transferable skills, it can be helpful to ask yourself a few questions. Now, I'm sure there's many more questions that you can ask yourself beyond the 4 on the screen right now. But we're going to go with these 4 in the moment. What tasks do people frequently ask you for help with? I'll give you an example for myself. People often ask me for resume assistance. So that is a skill that I have, and that's probably more of a technical skill because I've been through training to be a resume expert. But there are transferable skills that come out of me being able to do resume assistance, whether that is being able to use computer or documents or platforms to do that. Definitely communication skills. I use facilitation skills. Those are all transferable. I use those when engaging with clients to ensure they understand the key component, which is resume review. Other questions: what accomplishments are you most proud of? What types of problems do you enjoy solving? What strengths do others consistently recognize in you? These questions help reveal the skills behind your experience. Now, I recognize that we are recording in this moment, so it may be limited in engagement. So what I would like to do is just explain this activity. Again, feel free to pause your screen and do this on your own time. But first, I'd like for you to think about your current or most recent role. What is one skill you use regularly that you believe could apply to many different careers. So I've already given you an example for me. I'm often doing resume reviews. That is a technical skill that I have. But then I want you to take that technical skill and break it down, just like we did with data entry, and think to yourself, what are some transferable skills that I'm using when it comes to resume review or data entry that are transferable skills? And here are some questions to help you do that. What tasks, again, these are from the last slide, but what tasks do people consistently ask for your help with? What accomplishments are you most proud of? What problems do you enjoy solving? That can also help you break this down. So moving forward, let's look at how to communicate your transferable skills on your resume. It's so funny that I'm bringing this up as I am supposedly an expert at this topic. Given our time today, we'll walk through just two examples, but I want to encourage all of you to connect with us in career navigation or pipelines and pathways, because I recognize that they're doing career development support and sometimes too, or actually often. Whether that's updating your resume with this kind of language or reviewing what you've already created, we are all happy to partner with you on this particular venture, resume development. A resume bullet point that doesn't highlight transferable skills might look like what you see at the top in that first blurb that says starting bullet points. So here's an example: responsible for coordinating meetings, inspects all equipment and supplies. Now you may be looking at this and you say, Jasmine, I don't really understand why this is problematic. I want you to look at the very top. There's a formula that I put, and it says action verb plus skill plus impact. The starting bullet points that I just spoke aloud about have an action verb, which is definitely necessary for a bullet point. It also has a skill. So we'll look at bullet point one. Responsible is the action verb. Coordinating meetings is the skill, but the impact is what is missing. And that is what we're going to talk about in just a moment. We know that even when people are completing the same task, everyone approaches it a little bit different. So a lot of people coordinate meetings. What makes your approach to coordinating meetings stand out? And that is the impact that's missing here. So if you look at the bottom blurb that says better bullet point, the stronger bullet points at the bottom are more effective because it clearly identifies a transferable skill being used. It just doesn't just list the transferable skill, but it talks about how it's being used. This becomes especially important when you're applying for a role in a different environment. So, for example, if you're transitioning from a hands-on field-based role into a more administrative position, it may not be immediately clear how something like equipment inspection is relevant. However, when you highlight transferable skills like attention to detail, accuracy, operational priorities, you help the reader, and the reader is the hiring manager, easily see how your experience translates to that new role. So just looking at the better bullet point on the screen, we'll look at the last one. It says inspects all equipment and supplies, using attention to detail to support safety priorities. So those last few words are adding the impact of how and why were you inspecting equipment and supplies. That is the impact. Not just to show you, so the goal here is not just to show you what you did, but to clearly communicate the value and skills behind how you did it. So just remember that when you are updating your resume for whatever purpose, is that you're not just showing what you did, but you're also clearly communicating the value and skills behind what you did. So your resume is a great place to track and communicate your transferable skills and your technical skills. But another powerful platform for this is LinkedIn. I do recognize that depending on the type of work you're doing, having a LinkedIn account may not be necessary. But I do want to bring it to your attention in the event that LinkedIn is supportive for your particular search or your industry. We recently hosted a webinar on LinkedIn, so feel free to reach out to us if you missed it and would like a refresher on how to enhance your profile. On LinkedIn, there are several places where you can highlight your transferable skills. And before I speak to that, I just want to give a quick insight to what LinkedIn is, just in case there's some folks on the call that are like, I don't know what that is. It is a professional social media platform. That's the best way to put it. So if you have Facebook, it's kind of like Facebook, but for a professional purpose. So you're going to make quote unquote friends, but on LinkedIn, they're considered like connections. You can message people directly and communicate. You can showcase your bio and all of your experiences. So it's like a running document of your resume. But really, it's a place for professional conversations and professional communication. So you're not going to be posting pictures of your grandbaby. You're not going to be posting pictures of the latest wedding you went to. It's all about your professional career. So tracking back, now that I've explained a little bit what LinkedIn is, there are several things on LinkedIn that you can utilize transferable skills with. That could be your headliner, your about section, your about me, um, the skills and descriptions listed within each role. These sections help others understand not just what you do, but what you're capable of at a broader level. So, for example, if your headliner only lists like your job title, readers may subconsciously place you into a narrow box based on that role. But you're not defined by that single role, because you might be trying to do a career pivot, and there's skills that are relevant to what you are hoping to go forward with. So that's why you don't want to box yourself in. You'll see here on the screen my colleague Kim. I took a snapshot of her LinkedIn, and this is just the very top of her LinkedIn that has her photo, her name, her credentials, but also some of her transferable skills are listed at the top so that employers or new connections can immediately see these are the skills that Kim has that can tie to many different areas. So before I start this slide, I'm going to take a sip of water if that's okay with the listeners. All right, cool. So here are 4 practical strategies you can start implementing right away. Transferable skills are not only important on your resume, they are incredibly valuable in how you show up in your career conversations, networking, discussions, and interviews. The more clearly and confidently you can articulate your transferable skills, the more effectively you can communicate your value across a variety of settings. So let me talk about those settings. Maybe in a career conversation, your manager and leadership team, they're making decisions based on what they see and understand about your capabilities. If you only talk about tasks, right, they may overlook your full potential. So communicating your transferable skills helps position you for growth, new opportunities, and stronger performance recognition. So don't just say, I'm trying to think, don't just say, I review resumes. Of course, you review resumes. That's what they hired you for. But how effectively are you reviewing resumes? Are you doing a certain amount in a week? Are you creating new strategies to ensure that clientele can really understand how to better assess or upgrade their resume? That gives stronger reason for your capabilities or your skills. In networking discussions, you often have limited time to make an impression. Transferable skills help others quickly understand your strengths in a way that is relevant across industries. So, making it easier for them to remember you advocate for you, or connect you to opportunities. There are tons of ways that you can network. You don't have to be at a conference to network. You could be networking as you're walking across grounds to your next opportunity. Maybe you ran into somebody in a particular building that you passed through. Maybe you were walking to the car and you saw somebody that you saw could be beneficial to you in your career. Networking can happen at any moment. It doesn't have to just be in a professional setting. In interviews, employers are hiring for potential, not just past experience. Transferable skills help bridge the gap um, between background and the role you're pursuing, showing that you can succeed even if your experience doesn't perfectly match on paper. So, if you can clearly communicate your transferable skills, you make it easier for others to see your value, your versatility, your readiness for what's next. So, if you ever are trying to figure out how to best communicate your skills, please know that Career Navigation offers interview preparation. You can always reach out to us. We can do a one-on-one call with you. And we also offer mock interviewing as a panel. So we'll bring in some of our team members and practice with you as well. A simple framework for explaining your skills is at the top, which is past experience plus skill plus future value. So if you're ever in one of those situations, whether you're walking across grounds, you're in an interview, you're talking with your manager, and you're wanting to better communicate what your skills are, here's something that you can utilize. And I'll give you an example. In my previous role, I coordinated multiple projects across teams. That first line is the past experience. Next, that experience has strengthened my project management and communication skills. That is the skill that you're speaking about, project management and communication, which I'm excited to bring into this role. And that is the future value. So, this is probably something that you may utilize if you are in an interview. Maybe you are talking with someone that you met in a networking opportunity. That's where it's beneficial to utilize this particular example. So the key message here is this approach helps connect what you've done to what you can do next. So here's a practice activity that I encourage you to pause the screen and do on your own. I recognize we have some folks on the call right now, so feel free to take a picture or jot this activity down so that you can do it on your free time. Step one is going to be think of one transferable skill you have. You may have already thought of one from at the beginning of our workshop when there was tons of them on the screen, but think of one transferable skill. Then you're going to move into step two and you're going to fill in this script. This is just a way for you to start practicing how to communicate that transferable skill. So, first, my experience with blank, and that first blank is going to be where you insert your past experience. So, if you're talking about, let's say your skill is communication, think about a past experience that you utilize communication and insert that there. My experience with blank helped me develop strong blank. You're going to be inserting a skill. So we've already identified communication as a skill, and that is what you're going to insert there. And then my experience with blank helped me develop strong blank skills, which allowed me to blank. And that is where you're going to start to put the impact or the value. Now, this might be, you might want to think about who you're talking to in this moment, but maybe you're trying to just showcase a skill and you're just trying to tell somebody about it. So that's where you might say, my communication helped me to effectively deliver a presentation to 15 people. Delivering the presentation to 15 people is the impact. Now, you're not going to share your crafted response in the chat, not today. Maybe next time if you join another call with us. So, as we wrap up here, I just want to give you a few takeaways. Number one, your experience Your experiences contain more transferable value than you may realize. Focus on communicating skills and impact, not just responsibilities. And the more clearly you can articulate your skills, the more confident you will feel in career conversations. So I encourage you to identify 3 transferable skills you want to highlight moving forward, whether it's on your resume, in a future interview, or in a professional conversation. I encourage you today, before you go to sleep tonight, I encourage you to think of 3 transferable skills that you want to unpack moving forward. So, as promised, I want to leave you with some UVA resources. So, let's talk about those resources. Number one, career navigation. I had to insert career navigation as I am a part of that team. We are available to all employees and team members as a free benefit. So if you work at UVA, you are eligible to utilize our services. These are some of the services that we offer on the screen. We are here to support your career development. So if you are wanting to do some career planning, maybe you're like, I don't know what's next for me. Maybe you're wanting to walk through what a career conversation may look like. Maybe that's with a manager. Maybe you're preparing to go to a conference and you want a better network. We can talk with you. If you're looking for resume support or other professional documents, that may be a cover letter. Maybe you're applying to go back to school and you need a personal statement. We can support in that aspect. Again, building skills. So if you're trying to identify some skills and you're like, hey, I have a new role that I'm interested in, but I want to make sure I'm set up to be the best candidate, we can talk that through with you. As mentioned before, we do offer interview preparation. So if you want to practice with one of our team members, and maybe it's been a long time, we get that often. Clients say, it's been 10 years. I don't even remember how to interview. You can definitely practice with us. If you're interested in setting up or altering your LinkedIn, that's something we can support with. And of course, we offer a whole host of other things, assessments. If you're looking to do our Clifton Strengths or Gallup Strengths program, you're welcome to do that as well. So there's tons of things that we are offering that you have access to. If you're thinking through your transferable skills and you're like, I need help and I want to grow in that, there are some resources that you can start to dive into. I've already talked about Gallup Strengths and that coaching. If you have not utilized learning and development programs, they have tons of options that actually build on transferable skills. So, example, if you're like, I want to learn to communicate more effectively, they have programming for that. We do have other free resources such as Coursera and LinkedIn Learning. They are both platforms that offer courses to you where you can learn on any type of topic. You do have access to UVA educational benefits. So if you're looking to go back to school and you're realizing I need to develop on a certain area, there is room for that. And then lastly, Workday Learning. There is some access to learning on Workday. So just want to throw that out there in case you're looking to grow in your skills. Some upcoming events that career navigation and learning and development are putting on that could be relevant to this topic are on the screen here. I definitely encourage you to go online to our website if you're wanting to dive deeper into what each one of these topics are about. But we hope to see you in some of these experiences so you can grow on your skills. Now, we talked about networking, had to make sure I inserted this here. We have a program called Who's Networking, and it is meant for us to help our team members network better across grounds. We try to put on quarterly networking events. We, as in Career Navigation, our upcoming one is in collaboration with FEEP. It is on May 6th, and it is a walk and talk. So get some exercise in, all while having some intentional networking, and we'll have activities provided to encourage that. All right. Woo. I am on my way to my second water break. And I
Hey,
think Elijah's giving me the finger.
I was, yes, I think we have a question. Can you please go back to the future events slide?
Absolutely. I will go back now. Give me 1 second. There you go. Now I will insert here that we have tons of events and workshops that are coming up beyond what you see on the screen. So in just a moment, I'll fast forward, fast forward to the link that'll take you to our website, and you can see the full schedule of events as well. All right. Well, I'm hoping that was enough time for you to see it once more. But I do know this is being recorded, so hopefully you'll be able to see it and you can go to our website and get all the details and register. So, as I prepare to conclude, this is just a quick snapshot once again about the resources we, Career Navigation, offer. If you have general questions, you're welcome to email us. That is the first black box, careernav@virginia.edu. If you would like to go to our website to access all of our opportunities, that is the second black box. I will note here that we are in transition with some of our registration, particularly for coaching. So if you have any hardship scheduling with us, please send Career Nav an email so we can get you situated. And then the third black box is my email. And so if you have questions for me from our conversation or our workshop today, feel free to email me. Happy to answer or get you the best answer possible. So again, I just want to thank Pipelines and Pathways for allowing Career Navigation to come in and speak on this topic today. Elijah, thank you so much for getting everything organized. And I'm going to drink some water and leave space for any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Um, all right. Well, thank you so much, Jasmine, for that great session and for sharing your knowledge with us today. And thank you to everyone who joined and participated. We appreciate the time you invest in your career development. And we hope today's session helped you all better understand how to communicate your transferable skills, using your resume, and how to answer interview questions. And if you have any follow-up questions, feel free, like Jasmine said, to reach out to us. Pipelines and Pathways is also helpful for those who are not employed by UVA, so to get you that initial foot in the door. And then, yeah, thanks everyone. And we hope to see you at another one of these career building sessions. We have one coming up on June 10th, and it is going to be about negotiating your salary. So, more on that in the future. Thank you again, everyone, and Jasmine.
Thank you. Everyone have a great weekend.